Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our weekly soiree. Soiree. How do you pronounce that? Uh, Mondays with Mooch. We really appreciate you're here and sharing this event with us. We've been doing this weekly for several weeks now, and it's been a lot of fun, for sure. My name is Joe Muccioli. For those of you who don't know, Muccioli, as in that's where Mooch comes from. It's my nickname. And I am artistic director for the Jazz Arts Project, a nonprofit organization. For almost 15 years now, we've been presenting and honoring jazz with world-class concerts and high-level education programs. So we're very pleased to be able to continue some programming, and we hope to be back soon, live. But for now, I think we've curated some really nice artists to come on and meet with us and share some of their music and some of their ideas about all this. So I'm really pleased about it. Our guest this evening, Joe Locke, has performed and recorded with a diverse range of notable musicians, including Grover Washington, Kenny Barron, Eddie Henderson, Cecil Taylor, Diane Reeves, Ron Carter, the Munster Symphony Orchestra, and the Lincoln, Nebraska Symphony, and of course, the Beastie Boys. Long known to be a soloist capable of stunning physical power and broad emotional range, Joe has emerged as a preeminent composer, bandleader, and conceptualist of today's music scene. Joe is a 5-time recipient of the Jazz Journalists Association's Mallet Instrumentalists of the Year Award. He has received 2 Earshot Golden Ear Awards for the Concert of the Year and the Hot House New York City Jazz Award for Best Vibes Player, and he keeps topping critics and readers polls. In 2016, he was honored with the induction into the Music Hall of Fame of his hometown, Rochester, New York. He's an active clinician and educator in the United States and in Europe, and has been international vibraphone consultant at the Royal Academy of Music, London, since 2008, holding the title of Honorary Associate of the Royal Academy of Music. Do we have to call you Sir Locke? Joe? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Locke. Let me see if I can do this.
Can you see me?
I can.
We can see you.
Hang on, let
What's going on,
me.
people? Hey, Beth, what's happening, Beth? What's going on, baby?
How you doing, Joe?
Good, good. That guy you just introduced sounds very impressive. I'd like to meet him someday.
Well, I tell you what, that guy paid me.
He sounds kind of full of himself, though.
That guy paid me a lot of money to to build him up.
Sounds like he needs to get knocked down a few pegs, if you ask me.
I'm telling you, seriously, Sir Locke, is that part of the Royal Academy of Music?
It's really funny, man. I have some friends. I have some friends who are just, I just know them as musicians, like hanging partners, and they're knighted. You know, they're knighted by the Queen, so I have to treat them, special.
That's great.
But anyway, it's good to see everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging with us.
Joe,
Talk to me, Joe.
You and I, we met through a mutual dear friend who we've lost a couple of years ago, and if you want, we can talk to him, about him for a little bit. Lou Soloff, ladies and gentlemen, an amazing jazz artist, an amazing person. So that sort of is our common denominator between Joe and I.
Lou, yeah, I first was aware, I was made aware, it's really funny, man, now that you mention it, we talked earlier on the phone and I didn't bring this up, Mooch. The first time I heard about you, Lou came over to my pad, and in the afternoon we were going to go out to lunch, and we sat down and he asked if he could play me some of the Porgy and Bess recording that you guys did together. You did this beautiful. You actually did some arranging on that. It wasn't just Miles, was it? I think it was Miles, but you conducted, right?
I conducted and reconstructed and
yes,
transcribed that whole album.
Yes, and that was with the Bohuslän Big Band in Sweden. But he came over to my house and played me the recording. And
did he play the recording or the video?
He played me some recording. I forget if it was video or, but I looked over at him at one point while we were listening, and Lou had tears running down his cheeks.
Yeah.
And that was Lou Soloff. He was still in his, in his 60s, in his mid 60s. He was still like a child who had just fallen in love with the music, and the music affected him so deeply. Still, it was really moving to me, and I think that's something that he and I shared. Was this, this kind of, as we say, we're both of us were close to our own tears, and it's such a beautiful memory of him sitting on my couch in tears, listening to that music, and that was the first time I had heard about you. And
when you talk about someone who was so deeply passionate about music and deeply involved in creating music, that was Lou Soloff. For those of you who don't recognize the name, I think his claim to fame, perhaps outside of the music industry, outside of the jazz industry, is that he was the trumpet player of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And if those of you who know that song Spinning Wheel, that's his trumpet playing that solo on Spinning Wheel.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
After we're done here tonight, I expect everybody to go to YouTube and find Spinning Wheel and check out Lou Soloff. But later on, we have a little clip maybe we can play of him playing.
Yeah, but he was somebody who, I have so many stories about Lou. He was very funny, and I remember playing a week at Ronnie Scott's in London with Lou in a quartet setting with Jeff Tane Watts and a great bass player, Francois Mouton. And we were playing a ballad, and I was playing a solo vibraphone introduction, and it was a very consonant sort of quiet space in the middle of a set, which was rather rambunctious and boisterous. The band was really high powered, and it was this chance for this quiet respite in the music. And Lou had a couple of music stands set up, and he had a flugelhorn, a piccolo trumpet, his regular trumpet, a bunch of mouthpieces, and I was playing this solo vibraphone introduction, and all of a sudden I hear this crashing and banging, and Lou had knocked over his music stand, and the music paper went flying everywhere. And in trying to pick up the music, he knocked over the second music stand, and then he knocked over the flugelhorn, and then he knocked over the next trumpet. In trying to fix everything, it was just getting worse and worse. And it was like, at first I was angry because he had sort of disturbed my solo introduction. Then it got hysterically funny, and it was like something out of the Keystone Cops, and it became like performance art. In trying, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can fix that. And then he knocked something else over, and it was a thing of beauty, man. And it was something, when I think of Lou, I'll always think of that, this beautiful, accidental, comedic, somehow perfect moment, that he was so wonderful at doing,
That's Lou. We did several tours of Sweden, and on one tour, I remember we ended up calling him Lefty because he opened a suitcase and found that he only brought 2 left shoes.
Yeah, there you go.
So we actually had to make a trip to the shoe store and buy Lou a new pair of shoes.
Well, that's one of my favorite stories because as I heard the story, he had on his bed he had 2 pairs of only left shoes,
right?
But 13 pairs of reading glasses.
Well, that's another story.
But Lou was beautiful, and he's someone I think about a lot, and someone who I in his mid 60s, and even at the end of his life, he was someone who had a childlike love and a childlike wonder for music. I remember him calling me once on the phone, and this wasn't, that long before he passed, and he was excited, and he said, Joe, he said, some students from the new school invited me to come down to Smalls and sit in with them tonight. I'm so excited. I'm practicing now.
Right.
This is a guy who was an iconic musician who's been on just hundreds and hundreds of famous recordings, and yet that particular day, he was excited to play with those students from the new school and to be invited to sit in with them, as he would be if Paul McCartney or Barbra Streisand or any of the number of people who had called him in the past, big celebrities. He was excited about playing with some students from Smalls as he was to play with anyone on the planet. And that was just a beautiful thing to behold. So we love you, Lou. Yeah, we love you. Thank you for everything, man.
Absolutely. And I think I had asked Lou, because I was at the time, I think I had to put together some arrangements, and it was based on the idea of the Red Norvo sextet. Right? So, which Red Norvo was Vibes player. And the sextet, which, by the way, included Jerry Dodgen, among others. But I had to put that together, and I had to find a Vibes player, and Lou said, call Joe. And, of course, I did call Joe, and Joe couldn't make it, so he recommended his student, I guess, at the time, Christos Rafaelidis.
Christos Rafaelidis. Is Christos here right now? Do you see Christos?
I don't see him.
I think he's here, but man, I have to give shout outs to some people. Vonette Bigford, how you doing, sweetheart? Thank you for coming. Beautiful, wonderful singer. Thanks for being with us. Thomas Marriott. You all got to check out some Thomas Marriott. Incredible trumpet player. And my bro for years and years and years. Good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in, bro. Thanks for checking in.
I just found Christos.
Daddy, love you, man. Thanks for checking in, bro.
I just found Christos.
Tom, man, what's happening? Yeah, no.
I just found Christos. There he is.
Christos here?
Yeah.
Man, Christos, shout at us. Yeah, I can see you. I can see you there. James Whiting, JW, how you doing, man? Mike and Alice Patolnik. I feel like this is Romper Room and I'm Miss Rita.
That's right.
I see Tommy has a birthday and Jamie has a birthday now. Mike and Alice, hey, what's going on? I saw Cha Cha. J-Dub in the house. Yeah, so that's how you and Christos connected. Christos is a great vibraphonist, and you had called me to do something with, who was that with
yeah, you got to remind me, right? It was Joe Piscopo.
Oh, Joe Piscopo, right?
I was his music director for like 12 years.
And I couldn't do it, and I recommended Christos, and Christos, just like as he always does, totally took care of business, and I think Joe Piscopo and him had a great vibe on stage and off, and
so to speak.
So thanks for exactly. Thank you for thanks for being the catalyst for that to happen, Mooch.
Yeah. Also, folks that have been around our organization for a while may remember that Christos did one of our very first Summer Jazz Cafe weekends over at the Two River Theater. It probably was like 2006, 2007, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Noel Cohen, hey Nadia, how's it going, baby? It's my manager, Nadia. All right. Yeah, and Christos, that's funny too. That was before I moved to New Jersey. I was still living in New York at the time.
Right.
But so anyway, man.
That's what I was going to say. We scanned the globe looking for the best, absolute world-class jazz artists that we could find. And ladies and gentlemen, we've gone all the way to Middletown this time.
Middletown, New Jersey.
Joe bought a house in Middletown, and so I'm glad that he's one of our Monmouth County regulars now.
I enjoyed as a neighbor attending the outdoor concerts that we sponsored in Red Bank. And speaking of great trumpet players who we've lost, the last time I saw my friend Claudio Roditi was at your summer series, and it was so beautiful to see him. and he had battled cancer once and come out the other side of it, and we thought that he was going to be okay. And when I saw him, he was in remission and doing okay, and that ended up being the last time that I saw Claudio. But man, it was so beautiful. His sense of humor, he was playing beautifully, and his sense of humor was intact, and it was just so lovely to see him. So yeah, Claudio, Lou, all these wonderful people that we've lost.
Yeah, Claudio, another dear friend, beautiful Brazilian cat, and artist, clear trumpet artist.
So what would you like to chat about, man?
Well, I think we should play a little something that maybe this I don't want to cast aspersions on our audience, but we have a tune here, number one, called, should I say the name? Or make people guess? Make people guess.
I just thought this might be nice because it's kind of easy, and it's with Bobby Hutcherson, man, and he's my hero. So let's acknowledge the great Bobby Hutcherson. You know.
There you go, Melissa. Let's play number one.
Number one, y'all.
Yeah. You with us, Joe?
Is anything you want to say or ask me about that?
Looks like Bobby Hutcherson never broke a sweat.
But there's a joke about, I won't tell the punchline, but there's a joke about the old bull and the young bull, and they're looking from the top
Right.
of the hill down into a valley.
Yep.
That was the personification of that joke. I'll look up the punchline, but I was the young bull, man, and Bobby was the older one. He schooled me. That was the best ass whooping I ever took in my life, man.
Wow,
It was
that's great.
such a profound pleasure. Bobby was he's the bellwether of my instrument, and he was my touchstone personally. And man, another great vibraphonist, Gary Burton. I had the pleasure of doing a concert with Gary years before that. Two vibraphone concerts. Myself, Gary, James Moody, and Dave Holland, and Dave Hazeltine, and Tony Reedus. And it was meaningful for me to play with Gary, because he's also one of my heroes. But to play with Bobby, I still get choked up thinking about it, because Bobby, it was a spiritual, kind of catharsis for me, and it was an arrival for me to play with,
Sure.
to just be able to share the stage with Bobby, because he was spiritually with my, he always hated it when I called him my father, because he said, "Man, you make me feel old, man." But he was someone who, more than anyone I know, his music was a reflection of his humanity. And a lot of people give lip service to that concept, but it was true in this case. And I realized that after I got to know him, that all that beautiful music was a reflection of the man making it. And I realized also that I would have loved him if he never played a note, because it was the humanity. I sure am glad he played a bunch of notes, but I still would have loved him if he never played a note of music, because
I hear that.
It was because it was the man, and the music was a reflection of the man.
It always is.
If you don't mind, Joe, I wanted to answer a question that Vonette had.
I was just looking at those questions. Go for it.
Yeah, man, and actually, Vonette, I'm really excited to share something with you that I've been working on. And it's funny to answer your question. I haven't been composing per se. I'm gonna see if I can get you big on the screen while I talk to you. I don't know if I can. I think I can. That
she'll have to turn on her off her mute.
It's cool. It's cool. This is fine. But I was saying, Vonette, I haven't been writing per se, but I've been creative in that I've been writing some more music for large ensemble. The last thing that I've written I had a 10-piece commission by the Scottish National Jazz Orchestra for myself and the vocalist Kenny Washington that's been postponed until next year. And I'm working on the last piece, which is an arrangement of These Dreams by the rock band Heart, Ann and Nancy Wilson. So these dreams gone, da, 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 da. Beautiful song, and Ann and Nancy Wilson are so killing. And I'm doing I'm finishing an arrangement of Blue by Joni Mitchell, just for woodwinds, vibes, and piano. And I'm working on something that I'm real excited about. I can't wait to share with you, but it's a reimagining of All Along the Watchtower by Bob Dylan, but maybe more through the prism of Jimi Hendrix. And it's also a kind of a mashup with some original lyrics and that kind of tip the heart to what's going on right now with what's happening in the country around Black Lives Matter and around this burning ache to finally step up and put everything on the table about race in America, that we just can't seem to get to. but we're kind of aching toward that, you know, and so it's sort of a mashup of that combined with All Along the Watchtower, because I think All Along the Watchtower, the lyrics are unwittingly, you know, Dylan was writing about now, you know, with this song. There must be some kind of way out of here, you know, said the Joker to the thief, you know, and that's how it starts. And it seems very prophetic. And I thought so I'm excited about that. And it's a video project, and all the artists involved are doing it as a labor of love and solidarity. And it's an experiment for me in being able to record from my home, and actually mix a track from my house. One of the things that I've been doing is I've invested in being able to record vibes and vocals and acoustic instruments and slide them into Logic and mix an entire session from my home. And it's an experiment in that, but it's been really creatively rewarding to do that. And so writing, no, you know, I only write. I'm not sure what you're like, Vonette, like when you write, but a lot of people can really write the best under pressure. I'm not one of those people. I only write when the muse strikes. You're the same as me? Yeah, I only write when the muse strikes, and it as far as composition, and it's usually words that inspire me, a turn of phrase or a poem or something. And the muse hasn't been biting lately, but the creativity has in a different way. And I've been going back and I've been practicing some technical stuff on the vibes and some music, some, you know, kind of like language, you know, some linear, you know, stuff that I've been wanting to get to for a long time. So I feel inspired to practice, but I'm not writing, but that's okay. That's okay that I'm not writing now, you know.
You know, creative people, you know, if you lock up creative people in a room, they'll still figure out a way to make the walls into music.
You know, I wanted to share something. This is a good time to share this, you know, because we talk about being creative in difficult times. And I really thought that art didn't matter anymore in a time of such upheaval and such strife, to do something that's such an indulgence, like playing music. It feels like an indulgence, you know. It seems like some kind of effete pursuit, you know. And there was a woman, I just want to read this. It's Best American Essays of 2017. Leslie Jameson wrote the intro, and she kind of put it into perspective for me, because she said that after the election of 2016, she said, "What's the point? What's the point of writing? You know, what's the meaning for me to write the introduction to this book? You know, what does it mean? I need my body to be in the street right now." Not like writing some obscure, you know, essay about on some subject. Then she goes in the middle of her doubt, kind of from her doubt is born this incredible essay about why it's important. And she ends with, I think it's beautiful. I could read the whole thing, but we don't have time. She says, "America is the Q train at twilight. America is a line of barges on the East River. America is not the Statue of Liberty, but the subway dancer who blocks your view of the Statue of Liberty." The essay knows that. And you can replace the word essay with art or music. The essay knows that. It knows that America isn't the iconic body of a woman in robes, larger than life, but the stranger's body right next to your own. The stranger's body in headphones, daydreaming, or in the middle of a cell phone argument. The essay lives in moments of disruption. It lives in the belief that no beauty is innocent, no ugliness is fixed or simple, every life is bottomless, and no experience is only private. An essay doesn't simply transcribe the world, it finds it. And that, to me, is what it's all about. We are we are reporters in the field. And if we're not, if I'm not, something's wrong.
Right.
You know, because the music to a large degree, jazz it can in 2020 be a museum piece. It can be a museum piece. It can be an homage to the past. But what made the music great wasn't that. What made the music great and meaningful and important was that it exists in the now. And that we are reporters on the now. Through our instruments, through our voices, through our humanity, you know. And I'm really heartened that I'm seeing musicians doing just that, you know. And I'm heartened to see people waking up and going and taking to the streets and saying this matters. The complacency is shaken, and as human beings and as artists. And I think the music is best when it's saying something deep in the mess. And a lot of deep music is going to come from the mess, because this is social music. I fell in love with this music because not only of the notes, but of the social fabric that the music was born in. You know, I grew up playing music in the Black community in Rochester, New York, and the social fabric of the community was part and parcel of the music. They weren't separate from one another, you know. So anyway, you know, I could talk about this for hours, but I'm heartened, you know. This music is not the Statue of Liberty. It's the person on the.
That could be a whole series of seminars.
It's not, I'll repeat, this music's not the Statue of Liberty. It's the person drunk dancing in front of you, blocking your view of the Statue of Liberty. I thought that was beautiful how Leslie Jamison expressed that, you know?
We had a question from the gallery wanting to know the title and author of that book.
It's a fantastic book. It's every year, they come out with the best short stories of the year and the best essays. So they have the best American short stories and the best American essays. And this is the best American essays from 2017 with a foreword by Leslie Jamison. And the foreword itself is worth the price of admission, but the essays are fantastic. You know,
the best American essays from 2017.
Yeah, best American essays of 2017.
I'm sorry to break the train of thought. But
no, that's cool. I talk too much. I talk too damn much anyway.
That's okay. We should probably schedule a whole series of talks like that and on those kind of subjects.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is really cool.
We did have a question about besides vibes, do you play any other percussion instruments?
I play a mean maracas, man. I play the hell out of maracas, man. You know,
more cowbell.
More cowbell. You know, I started as a drummer and piano player, but I'm a terrible drummer today. I'm an awful drummer, and I play. I think my next to the vibraphone, the next instrument I'm comfortable playing is the piano. And other than that, you know, percussion. You know, I can lay down a clave on the cowbell, but other than that, you got to call somebody else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Triangle.
Yeah, the triangle. Yeah, keep trying. But
yeah. You've done some projects with orchestras, I know. You had an orchestra piece you wrote.
I love working. You know, Christos has worked with symphony orchestra as well, and it's such a beautiful experience. You know, I know you've conducted orchestras before, sure. But I have an album with the Lincoln, Nebraska Symphony that was just a joy to do as a soloist, and I've worked with the Rochester Philharmonic, and it's such an amazing experience as a soloist to kind of stand with this symphony orchestra wrapped around you and just feel the huge embrace of the orchestra. You know, it's just gorgeous. When I did my symphonic album, I was afraid to write for symphony because I had never even written for strings. But since then, I've had the pleasure to write for the Cagliari Chamber Orchestra in Cagliari, Sardinia. The conductor and the maestro of that orchestra is Simone Pitao, a fantastic violinist. And so I've since composed a suite for chamber orchestra. And the next thing, hopefully, will be to write for full symphony orchestra. You know, because I'm a glutton for punishment.
I know that song, believe me.
Yes, yeah. But yeah.
How about that? Oh, Jacqueline, could you post Joe's website? Maybe people would like to know more about Joe and where he's going to be performing, and maybe we should talk about that. I mean, do we have anything live that we can look forward to?
Well, this is amazing. I had a really busy season to look forward to, and that completely went the way of all flesh, man.
Sure, as we all did.
And yeah, right. It's been the case with all of us, and we'll see what happens. As a matter of fact, this week I'm supposed to be doing a live album from Dizzy's at Jazz at Lincoln Center in New York City. I'm supposed to be doing a live album with Jeff Tain Watts, Pat Bianchi, Tommy Smith, and Jonathan Kreisberg, and we had the whole thing ready to go, and we were looking forward, to laying down some tracks from which to release a live album, and hopefully that'll happen. It's just kick down the field a little bit further, So yeah.
Yeah, we've had to second guess a whole series of our summer shows.
Yeah. I feel like that album for me was going to be like a Showing Off Jazz album. I wanted to make after the last album I made that had some vocals on it and had some compositional stuff. There was no swing on the last record. There was no spang-a-lang straight ahead, and I wanted to make a real jazz record. I was actually going to revisit, Thomas Marriott. I was going to revisit, the Alibi Room, and just do that as as like a straight ahead, vaunts, man. So I look forward to that.
Paul.
Yeah,
Paul asked. I think Paul asked about the Summer Jazz Cafe, theoretically asking about whether you would be playing it. But this summer we just cannot program it, at least not yet. Maybe something in the fall, but I have to remind everybody. Maybe some of you know this. Joe actually did do one of our Summer Jazz Cafes. If you remember, Joe, it was in a little restaurant on Broad Street.
And I remember I was particularly brilliant.
I think you came in with a duo, maybe. You were particularly what?
I said I was particularly brilliant that evening, as I recall. I guess my humor's not falling on the. Well, that's okay. That's all right.
I think you did have a good meal.
You throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. You know what I'm saying, bro?
That's right.
But it's funny, man. There are things I don't remember. I don't remember that gig per se, but somebody just posted on Facebook, man. Somebody posted a night that I did at Smoke. Wonderful club in New York City. Someone posted a night I did with Hilton Ruiz, John Benitez, Sylvia Cuenca, and Ray Barretto.
Whoa!
And I had forgotten that gig, and it's pretty slamming, man. And it makes me worry about like what else am I forgetting?
I know that happens.
But it was real nice. But it was real nice to see it. And I mean, and Ray Barretto, man, one of my all-time heroes, as was Hilton, man, as was Hilton Ruiz, Don Benitez, man, a great living master of the music, We
have a question about.
Wait a minute, I got to interrupt you for 1 second, Joe, because Bet Cornetta is holding up the new Spanish Harlem Bet, right on. She's holding up the new Spanish Harlem Orchestra album. Wow, man, Thomas Marriott was the first person to tell me about the Spanish Harlem Orchestra, and man, I get a call from Doug Beavers, Thomas, and they asked me if I can guest on the album, and it was such a joy to be on that album. Spanish Harlem Orchestra. Tell me if I'm wrong, Thomas, but they've won several Grammys, haven't they? So fingers crossed that this one, Bet, is going to be the Grammy winner for Latin jazz.
Fantastic.
Dave Liebman is on it. Myself, Kurt Elling, Miguel Zenon, Michael Rodriguez, Bob Mintzer, Jimmy Haslip. Man, it just goes like on and on and on. And it's a great record. So Spanish Harlem Orchestra. It's called the Latin Jazz Project. Thank you, Bet. Thank you, darling.
That's great. Wonderful. We had a request for how about some live music? You want to play a little something for us?
I'll play a little something. This is now I'm going to do this, but I have to do it in a way that this is just with the now how can I get back onto regular view here? I want to see myself so I can see the view of what people are seeing.
Go to speaker view.
Okay.
I'm just gonna play. I'm not sure what the sound is like because it's just the laptop microphone. So I'm gonna play something super quick and super short. This is Embraceable You. That's hard to do coming right from a looking at a laptop screen with your glasses on.
Right. You know, we're gonna just we have to do a little commercial for the organization.
Right
Just to
on.
be a couple of minutes. So, Carmen, are you around? Our development director, I think, is here somewhere. There he is. Carmen has a
Hey,
few dozen words to say.
I hope not a few dozen, but Joe, thank you so much. This is a great night. And I first got to see you perform live. I think it was around 2014. It was a kids jazz concert in Newark, and I was doing marketing for Dorthon Kirk over at
Oh man, I have
WBGO.
such pleasant memories every time I've done those, man. I've enjoyed them so much, man. And I love Dorothy
Yeah, and
Burke, man. I love Dorothy.
I did. Oh, she's amazing. And I did the marketing for there, and you brought children on stage to play with you. And so I would always go to your picture to use to promote the kids concert series, because you had some great shots with the children, man. They loved playing on stage with you. And so I appreciated that.
I've
Really
got a
appreciated
photo.
that.
I've got a
Smile.
photo of myself with this little girl on the side of the Vibes, and I'm about to hand her a vibraphone mallet so she can play. And it was from that concert. Yeah.
I was there. That was the show I was at. I think I took the picture, by the way.
Reminding me of that, man. And man, I love BGO and Dorothy Kirk and what she's doing in Newark, man. I love her so much, man. Thank you for your work too, man.
Oh, thank you. And again, I wanted to tonight. You you shared some wonderful words about just music carrying the message, music bringing people together, and the importance of the social messages that behind in jazz.
Yes.
And kind of when you were talking, I just thought to myself, jazz is alive, jazz is jazz matters, and jazz is a movement. And so the Jazz Arts Project is a part of that movement, and we need your support. We are alive and strong and well. And Middletown, I'm going to be in Middletown in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be hanging out there house sitting in Middletown. It's a great little area.
Right on,
not
man.
too far from Red Bank, so I'm going to be out there enjoying it. So please continue supporting our music. I put the link on in the chat room at jazzartsproject.org/give. So please support the music and support the movement and support all the great musicians. Thanks a lot.
Wow, beautiful.
Thanks so much, Carmen. And I also want to say that I can now announce that we have been generously given a platinum sponsorship by Ocean First Bank, and we are really pleased about that. It's for the rest of the year. Usually they help support the Summer Jazz Cafe, but it's for the rest of the year programming in any of way we can. If it's going to be programming online, virtually, or it's going to be programming live, maybe in the fall or in the winter, they're here to support us. So I really appreciate the folks at Ocean First Bank.
Beautiful.
Why don't we play Joe that?
If we only have a little time left, why don't you play "Ain't No Sunshine," man, with Kenny?
Play a little bit of "Ain't No Sunshine," right? That's number 2.
That says yes.
Melissa.
I'm so happy to see you, Ben. We got to do this. We got to do a Zoom. We got to do a Zoom hang sometime. Are you? I can't hear you. But tell me, are you? Just say yes or no. Are you on the boat right now, or are you home? Okay, gotcha.
On the boat? Oh, take me.
Exactly. Me first, man. Me first.
I just got back. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Melissa, are we there? There you go.
Yeah. Here we go. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, yeah. I wonder this time where she's gone. Wonder if she's gone to stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. I know. I know, I know, I know, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know, I know. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. Yeah, I ought to leave the young thing alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when you're gone. Only darkness every day, baby. Yeah, ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
Okay, Melissa. Now I want to, after that, this goes on for another 20 minutes or something. So I want to show something else briefly. Joe, I think maybe you'll get a kick out of this. Melissa, let's go to number 3. There we go. So this is somebody transcribed Joe's solo, note for note, for this tune. Have you seen this, Joe? Okay, there you go. How about that?
These kids today.
You know,
it's so,
somebody
it's
did.
so,
Somebody.
it's so funny, man. It's so funny. Zita Carno, who was a wonderful musician back in the late 1950s. But John Coltrane was playing at the Village Vanguard, and she walked into the kitchen at the Vanguard where the musicians hang out on the breaks, and she said, "Mr. Coltrane, could you play this?" And she handed him these sheets of paper, and he looked at it and he said, "No, I can't. I couldn't play that. It's too hard." It was his solo from Giant Steps.
Right. Right. So somebody did that. Somebody also did that to Paquito de Rivera.
Yeah, well, someone could do that to me with that solo, because if someone showed me that solo, it's like I could. There's no way I could ever play that, and they'd have to respond, "You did play that," you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you know, looking at that, talk about
students, man.
Talk about rhythmic diversity, huh?
Man,
looking at that thing.
Go ahead. You guys, look at all these people here listening to this interview. Are we boring? Are we boring you to tears? Are you guys good? Are you okay? Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I was with you in Rochester when you played at Jenks and Jones.
What's your name?
David Altimos.
What's your last name, David?
David Altimos.
Man, you know me for going back to the Jenks and Jones days?
Upstairs.
Man, amazing. When you say upstairs, what are you talking about, David? Oh, I can't hear you.
You muted yourself.
You muted yourself. Can't hear you.
There.
There you go.
There you go. So anyway, he's talking about Jenks and Jones, the first club. I started playing there when I was 15 years old. So he's going back to when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. My first experience playing jazz professionally was playing at Jenks and Jones Lounge on Genesee Street in Rochester, and that was the beginning of my life as a professional jazz musician. So yeah, thanks, David.
Known you a long time.
Are you in Rochester now, man?
No, I'm in Bradley Beach.
You're in Bradley Beach.
I'm 20 minutes.
Get out of here, man. Right on, man. Right on. Thank you so much for tuning in, man.
No problem.
Beautiful, man.
Joe, I have a question about those solid gold bars you're playing on.
Yeah, man. These are my babies. These are the name of the company is Musser, and these bars are from 1959, the year I was born.
Wow.
And they're really beautiful bars. It's funny, man. I endorse a company, a vibraphone company called Mallet Tech, and Mallet Tech.
It's right here in Asbury Park, right?
David, it's in Neptune, like the border of Neptune, Asbury Park. It's one of the world's leading mallet instrument companies, and I play an instrument made by Mallet Tech called the Mallet Tech Omega that I helped design, and it's a fantastic instrument. Right now, I have my baby, the old war horse set up with the 1959 Musser bars, and they really sing.
Do you literally pack those up and carry them with you on tour?
No, when I tour, I gotten to the point in my career where they provide what I need, so I can just walk.
Otherwise, those suitcases must be murder to lug around.
Yeah. Worked hard to get to a place where I don't have to do that anymore, but I did for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
But right on, man.
So, other questions?
Anybody else? We've been going for a while.
Yeah.
Well, good to see everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Folks.
Support the cause here, and it's a wonderful program, and I'm going to continue tuning in. I think Joe has some great stuff planned, so I look forward to what's coming down the line. If anybody else has anything that they want to ask me, I'm happy to answer. Right,
you know what generally happens is we hang a little bit. I will officially sort of end the session, and then some of us hang out and hang as a normal after gig hang kind of thing. So feel free to do that if you want to chat a little bit later.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off if that's cool.
Of course, that's cool. But folks, before that,
sorry, Joe. Before we do that, I see some new messages here, and I just want to make sure that.
Right.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And I think we're good.
Before we officially end, I just want to make the announcement for next week. Our guest will be Byron Stripling.
Beautiful, man.
Right, from the Columbus Jazz Orchestra. It's kind of there's sort of a sister organization out there called, I think it's called Jazz Arts Columbus, something like Jazz Arts of Ohio. I forget the actual name of it, but it's got the words Jazz Arts in it, so we consider them our sister organization. So, folks, thanks so much for coming. We'll be doing this every week until we can come live to you, and we'll certainly keep in touch, because we will certainly notify you when we do start doing live productions, and like that. So, folks,
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Why don't you put it in chat?
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
you.
Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Say goodnight, Gracie. If anybody wants to hang, you're welcome to. I got my limoncello going still.